Sergeant at Arms, are we all settled? Yes, we may proceed with our meeting, which started a bit earlier. We welcome the delegation from Nyamira County Executive to the Senate and to the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. We had deferred prayer so that we could pray together, and I'm going to ask the senator from Nyandarua, because he's the last one to have walked in. He was here much earlier, but he's the last one to walk into the room to lead us in prayer.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our church. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Methu. Let's introduce ourselves, members of... before we go into the introductions, honorable members, adoption of the agenda. Our agenda today is as stated in the files before us. Consideration of the report on the Nyamira County Executive for the financial years ended 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022, and the revenue statement.
Honorable Chair, I propose.
Thank you, Senator Methu. Could I get a seconder?
A second, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Mofaya. Quick introduction of members present.
Honorable Chair, my name is John Methu. I'm a senator of the Republic of Kenya from Nyandarua, member of the committee.
Senator.
Okongo Omogeni, Senator, Nyamira County.
Through the Chair, Cherargei Kiprotich is my name, Nandi County Senator and the Vice Chairperson of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. This thing is dead. Oh, sorry. This is Commander Mofaya, Rakanidi County, member of this committee.
And I'm the chair of the committee, Moses Kajwang, Senator from Homa Bay. In the interest of time, we will take note of the clerks. Perhaps the clerk just go on record on behalf of the entire team.
Good morning. My name is Jojo Tieno, Committee Clerk. Thank you.
He's supported by a huge retinue of staff. Because of time, we will go straight to the other stakeholders. OAG.
Here we have team from Nyamira County. Please allow me to request on record.
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Francis Kabui. I'm an auditor responsible for the audit of Nyamira County. We are in an based in Kericho Regional Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Kennedy Uche, auditor from the Office of Auditor General.
You're welcome. ESCC.
Chair, I'm Patricia Chebet, liaison officer from the Office of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
You're welcome. We'll be joined by the control of budget and the National Treasury in due course. And I think under the umbrella of the clerk, we also have the Parliamentary Budget Office present in the meeting. We go to the Nyamira County Executive. Governor Nyamira, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Nyaribo, Governor for Nyamira County.
We'll allow your delegation to introduce themselves, name and designation.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Dr. Geoffrey Morara, CC Member for Finance, ICT and Economic Planning. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, my name is Dr. Sanath Maope, CCO, Economic Planning and Finance.
Honorable Chair, my name is Rasta Zorina, the County Attorney.
Chair, my name is Jack Magara, the County Secretary and Head of County Public Service.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Matiangi John, CSEM, Environment, Water, Energy, Mining, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Nyamira County.
Honorable Chair, my name is CP Emily Ongaga. I'm the CC member in charge of education and vocational training.
Honorable Chair, my name is Josephat Gori, Chief Officer Lands, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development.
Chair, my name is Dr. Kereri, Chair, County Public Service Board.
Honorable Chair, my name is Ombogo Marwanga, Chief Officer for Environment, Energy and Water Services.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Mary Kerubo,
Secretariat.
Honorable Chair, my name is Raid Momani, Chief Officer Public Service Management.
Honorable Chair, my name is Charles Otwoli, Liaison Advisor Office of the Governor.
Honorable Chair, I'm Sibia Nyamwa, the Secretariat.
Honorable Chair, I'm Jemima Boga, Secretariat.
Honorable Chair, my name is Anne Yanchama, Secretariat.
Honorable Chair, I'm Perez Nyakeradio, Director Supply Chain Management.
Honorable Chair, I'm Jared Orori, Secretariat.
So that is it for the governor's delegation.
Chair, what does it mean by Secretariat?
Secretariat of the, I think just to make sure we deal with the substantive issues, Clerk, Sergeant at Arms, I believe there's a signing sheet where everyone signs their designation. Please do not sign as Secretariat. Sign, put in your role in the county, because I don't think there's something called Secretariat. So make sure that when you're signing, you have signed the role that appears in your job description. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the staff of the Senator's office, Senator for Nyamira. Would you like to acknowledge the staff from your oversight office?
They can maybe introduce themselves. Can start at the back there.
I hope they didn't introduce themselves as being part of the governor's team.
I'm sure they can't make such a mistake, Chairman.
Honorable Chair, Duke Nyaribo from the Office of the Senator.
Honorable Chair, Reverend Rogers Apima.
Is there any other? She can use the mic close by.
Chair Ruth, Office Manager.
Ricky Nyambati from the Office of the Senate.
Okay, Ruth, next time you give us your full names, because it is only fruits that have one name. Do you want to give us your full names?
Ruth Kwamboka Iswaro, Office Manager.
Okay, that's better. Do we have the County Assembly Public Accounts Committee, Clerk?
No, Chair, we do not have the Assembly. We invited them, though this morning the clerk said he's not able to send the committee.
Okay, fine. I think we might have some conversation around that after the administration of oath. Yeah, we typically, actually by practice, we invite them to accompany the executive. So let's go to the next order, which is the administration of oath. The clerk of the Senate will guide the governor.
I, Amos Nyaribo, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matter before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Okay, next you shall formally table your written responses and supporting annexures.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby table the following documents before the committee. Management responses and accompanying annexes on the reports of Auditor General on the financial statements for the financial years 2020, 2021, and 2021-2022 for the County Executive of Nyamira County, and the report of the Auditor General on the receiver of revenue for the County Executive of Nyamira for the financial year 2021-2022.
Okay, Auditor General, we had given instructions that those records should be sent to you in advance to allow you to peruse. Can you confirm that that happened?
Yes, Chair, we received the responses and we have verified them. Thank you.
Clerk of the Senate, did we receive our responses in good time?
Yes, Chair, I do confirm that we received them within the timelines you had set.
Okay, so Auditor General, you're in a position to prosecute. I know there have been changes in staffing at the hub, but I want you to give us comfort that you are able to prosecute the matters, and also to give us comfort that you've been able to visit some of the projects that have been highlighted here.
Thank you, Chair. There have been changes in the office, but myself have been retained in that in the regional office we term as Kericho Regional Office, and we received the responses. We have verified. We have also gone to verify the projects in the fields, and I've come with my colleague, and we are able to prosecute the report. Thank you.
Okay, unless there's a preliminary matter or observation from members before we get into the substantive agenda. Senator Omogeni?
Yes, Governor, I don't know why the members of County Assembly have not accompanied you this morning. Do you know why? The relevant committee of County Assembly, why are they not here? Last time you came with them. Today you are not with them.
I'm not aware why they are not here, although I know they were sitting today in the Assembly.
Have they interrogated these audit reports and come up with a report? Has the executive appeared before them?
Yes, they have.
Yeah, the reason why we invite the County Assembly is because you have a concurrent mandate to look at these reports. And we would benefit a lot if they were to give us their recommendations so that Senate then can push for implementation. I think the failure on the part of the Assembly to appear is a loss on their part, because then they will have to repeat this exercise if they have not gone through it. And I would be highly doubtful, and Governor, you also need to be extremely careful because you're on oath. I would highly doubt that Nyamira County Assembly has considered this report. So if you're not sure, you need to retract. You are on oath. And if you're going to make a commitment on behalf of the Assembly, you need to be very careful. I don't think that was a trick question. It was just a question to find out the situation. So is it your position that the Assembly has considered this report and has adopted it, to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Chair.
And you say that on oath, and that means it is a matter of fact. That would be very exceptional if Nyamira has gone through this report. So can you then confirm, have they gone through the receive of revenue report, and have they tabled their report to the Assembly, and has the report been adopted?
Yes, Chair.
Governor, I hope you understand the importance of the question I'm asking. First of all, you should not speak on behalf of the Assembly. That should be the starting point. But when you make assertions and affirmance on the work of the Assembly, you are going into a very dangerous terrain. If you are not sure, tell us you are not sure. But if you say it is yes, then we shall be holding you to account on the work of another institution.
Maybe, for clarity, Governor, when did you appear before, or anybody from the executive, when do you appear to answer audit queries on the financial year 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022? Can you remember the dates?
I can't remember the dates, but the month of April and May.
Month of April and May. Who was chairing?
Yeah, May, no.
Yeah, May.
Then, but the committee has changed since.
Okay.
Nyamira was hearing.
Okay. Any knowledge whether that report has been tabled before the county assembly of Nyamira?
There, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think you are safer that way instead of making very, very conclusive statements, because lying under oath is an offense. Perjury is a grave offense. It cost the Prime Minister of United Kingdom his job. Boris Johnson lost his job as PM for lying under oath, and he was even kicked out of Parliament. He actually resigned rather than to be kicked out of Parliament for lying under oath. So be very careful with what you state while under oath. Senator Onyonka, you were not present during the introductions?
Chair, I'm sorry I had to go on. Thank you. My name is Richard Onyonka, Senator Kisii County, a member of this committee and the Kenyan Senate. Chair, I was raising a small issue with the governor. I have seen he's carried a number of individuals, which we frequently do, and I think he has carried 2 women, and he has about 14 men. I don't know whether that's correct. The issue of inclusivity and what the law says, I wanted the governor to explain these ladies what positions they hold and responsibility in the county government of Nyamira.
Senator, because you missed the introduction, I think they've gone on record on that, so we shall skip that, but I understand your concern. Senator Methu.
Honorable Chair, a very quick question to the governor. Since there is a substantive matter on the audit on legal expenses, I want to know whether you have a county attorney, a county solicitor, and the reasons why they have not been able to accompany you here, because I think that the technical people who should be able to...
Chair, the county attorney is with me.
Okay, all right.
Fine, so we shall test that when we get to the matter. Now, I think there's on the matter of the assembly, there are a few things that we might want to deal with. Article 176 of the Constitution defines county governments, and it says there shall be a county government for each county, consisting of a county assembly and a county executive. The County Assembly of Nyamira appeared before this committee a few weeks ago, and we made certain interim recommendations. We are well aware that today we have the county executive, which has a different set of financial records. But because a county government must be looked at in totality, as being the assembly and the executive, now that the delegation from Nyamira is here, we need to reiterate a few of the issues that we raised and perhaps provide guidance to the people of Nyamira on the position of the Senate. The budget of Nyamira, close to 13%, goes to the county assembly. That's a very high allocation compared to in other counties. Of course, we have provided guidelines of a threshold of 7%, which sometimes is varied because of the ceilings that the Senate passes. But if 13.5% is spent on the Assembly to represent, to legislate, and to oversight, activities and financial conduct of the County Assembly becomes an important consideration for the Senate when discussing or when reviewing the financial health of Nyamira County as a whole. When the County Assembly of Nyamira appeared before the Senate, we made certain recommendations, and I will ask Senator Cherargei, my vice chair, who was chairing that particular session, just to recite those interim recommendations. It is not for you as governor to respond, because that is another entity, but it's just to go on record and to provide guidance to the people of Nyamira on how we intend to deal with the issues in the Assembly. Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think basically there are a number of issues, financial impropriety and not very good governance that are actively under investigation by EACC. I think the gist of the matter is that we found out that the substantive clerk was not the accounting officer, contrary to the Public Finance and Management Act and other financial regulations. Instead, it was a deputy clerk. We therefore, as a committee, resolve within 14 days the County Public Service Board, County Assembly Public Service Board, was to reinstate the clerk, substantive clerk, to be the accounting officer of the county assembly or the entity, and 14 days have left and that has not been done. Chair, it is of note that we have noted that the County Assembly Public Service Board has started illegally to start and want to remove the substantive clerk, contrary to the directions of this committee, which in extrapolation is contempt of the Senate, and by extension in contempt of the High Court, because Senate sits with the powers of the court, and therefore we find that contemptuous. And I hope, Chair, you will direct that the County Assembly Public Service Board should appear and also brief the committee and the Senate on the state of compliance of the 14 days to reinstate the clerk. Other issues, Chair, and you remember because you had given me opportunity to chair that session, the substantive clerk and the entity was supposed to provide further evidence on the spending of 40 million Kenya shillings that could not be explained properly. Another aspect is on the status of the building of the County Assembly building for the MCS offices and secretariat, which part of it had collapsed, and therefore there was supposed to be other further referrals that the committee would. And in fact, the intention of the committee, through you, Chair, is that in the time we'll visit Nyamira County, we would be interested to visit this building alongside other projects of the county government of Nyamira County. So in an amshot, other issues, because they are actively investigated by the EACC, I would not dwell until the EACC, of course, continues with their ongoing. But we found that there is a disjointed way where they have isolated the clerk, yet it contravenes the law to very, very many extent. And therefore, in an upshot, Chair, those were just few observations that we noted.
Thank you, Senator Cherargei. A reading of Article 176, you come to the conclusion that the county government has got two arms. The first arm, we'll call it the right arm, is the assembly, because it is the one that is referred to first, and the left arm is executive. If the assembly is sick, then we would expect that that cancer would spread to the executive, and vice versa. And that's why we are concerned about the state of financial management within the assembly, and the Senate will do the best it can to ensure that the assembly is run in a manner that can ensure that the objectives of devolution are achieved. And I think for this particular matter is not for the executive to respond because it is the left arm of government. We should and we shall continue holding the assembly and the accounting officers to account, unless there is any comment on those recommendations before I provide the way forward. Senator.
Chair, with your permission, I just wanted to know from EACC, from what you have heard, this kind of shenanigans we are seeing from the county assembly, have you commenced investigations as directed by the committee on the financial workings of the county assembly of Nyamira?
Yes, Chair, investigations have been commenced, actively being handled by our regional office. So, yes.
Finally, from the auditor, we had directed that we have a forensic audit. Has that been taken up?
Chair, I don't have that information, but we can verify. I have already requested the office to give me feedback, but I have not received feedback when the issue was mentioned earlier.
Okay, members, I will ask the clerk to do a letter with the interim recommendations of the committee on that particular date, because the committee adopted the resolutions of the subcommittee. Once the interim recommendations have been sent out to the assembly, to the EACC and to the Auditor General, we will give them 14 days to respond in writing on the action taken. And thereafter, we shall invite the parties to make a presentation. But we must say this very clearly, that this committee has the powers of a high court. And we always talk about matters sub judice or sub judice, depending on which accent you want to take. Matters before a court should not be referred to and should not be interfered with. Likewise, for matters before a committee of the House. When a committee of the House has given certain directions or certain recommendations, we expect that those recommendations shall be implemented without any interference. Finally, there is also the privilege that this committee has, and anyone appearing before this committee. Governor, when you appear before this committee, we want to assure you that you enjoy the immunities and privileges that whatever you say here cannot and should not be used against you outside there in a court of law. And likewise, any other witness who appears before this committee, we must assure them that they've got immunity, they've got privileges. We do not expect that the Assembly can undertake any action on any officer on the basis of testimony or submissions made before this committee. I think it's important to point that out, and we hope that whatever actions that are in the public domain in the County Assembly should be done within the confines of the law, should respect the immunity of witnesses, and should also respect the privilege that this committee has, privileges that are similar to that of a high court. So members, I think we can leave that at that point so that we now come back to the executive and deal with the issues in the county executive. We have 3 reports, and the House is sitting today at 2:30, so we will proceed in a very efficient manner. We already have a brief from the Auditor General. We know what has been resolved and what is outstanding. So whatever we've agreed with the auditor as having been resolved, we shall take the written responses. We will then proceed as follows. We'll start with the receipt of revenue statement, then we'll come to the report for the financial year 2021-2022, and then look at cross-cutting issues in 2020-2021.
Excuse me, Chair, through you.
Senator Onyuka.
I thought you were making a ruling which was welcoming the clerk to give us the resolutions which we agreed on the last meeting.
Because the Vice Chair was chairing, he has summarized.
Thank you. My apologies.
There'll be a letter with the substantive recommendations.
Thank you, sir.
As captured on.
Much obliged. I can see Senator Methu is laughing at me.
I think we need to supply more coffee to Senator Onyonga so that he remains.
I agree with you. I woke up at 4 to go on TV. My apologies, Chair.
Yes,
and you did exceptionally well.
This is one of the few institutions where the Deputy Chair has powers.
Unlike other institutions.
So let's go to the first report, which is a receipt of revenue statement. And in future, we'll be dealing with 3 statements because the CRF, the County Revenue Fund statement, was also audited. But the audit of CRF started in this financial year. So I think there's that missing gap that we have the executive, we have ROR, but we don't have CRF. But I think we'll improve on that going forward. CRF, it's important sometimes to look at it so that you're able to tie the loose ends, because one of the issues here is discrepancies in disbursements. But on the ROR statement, what was your opinion, Auditor General?
Thank you, Chair. The report of the Auditor General on the receiver of revenue for the year ended 30 June 2022 for the County Government of Nyamira. The report was a qualified opinion based on one qualifying matter. Thank you, Chair.
What was a qualifying matter? And clerks, please make sure that all members have got a copy of the ROR. Or I noticed that the management responses have recited the Auditor General's finding. So we could be guided by the management response because it captures the audit issue. So, Auditor, what was the qualifying matter on ROR?
The qualifying matter was on variances between revenue statements and the records. And some variances were noted between amounts reflected in the statement and amounts reflected in the revenue records. There's a table there showing the amounts as per the revenue statements and the amounts as per the system for collection of the revenue. This is what they are calling the ZZ revenue collection records. So the revenue amounting to 6,058,861 deposited in a revenue collection bank account was not included in the revenue statements. Thank you, Chair.
So these variances have not been explained. Okay, so Governor, going straight to the issue, you've got differences between your revenue statements and the collection records. First of all, who's your receiver of revenue? Is your receiver of revenue here?
Honorable Chair, yes, I'm here.
So are you designated as ROR, or by virtue of being chief officer, you assume you are the receiver of revenue?
I am designated.
You are designated?
Yes.
Can you then explain to us why there are variances between the revenue statements and the collection records? Because that should never apply. The revenue statements should be a reflection of collection records, and there's a variance on every revenue stream. I think because your management response is extremely brief, very, very brief.
Honorable Chair, with your permission, when you look at that table, we have the amounts that have been captured by revenue statement, and we have those that were being shown in the revenue system. And as at that time, the revenue system that was in use was called ZZ. And the variance comes about because when they make the revenue statement, they do an extraction, and sometimes it has to be from the back office. An example is the single business permit, whereby we collect revenues across departments, including licensing of schools and other business entities, and all of it is captured as single business permit. And so when we prepare our statements, we have to extract and apportion each of the revenue that has been collected to the respective departments. So
where is that explanation in your management response?
Well,
you have a one paragraph response.
Yes, okay, well, Honorable Chair, the main query here was about the 6 million that was not actually captured in the financial statements. But this came about because when we collect our revenues...
That is not the main query, because it says further. That is in addition
to the variance.
Yes. In addition to the issues raised on the table. Let's take land rates, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The ZZ collection record says you collected 10.9 million, but you have reported 2.5 million, resulting in a variance of 8.3 million. One can easily conclude that you collected 10 million, reported 2 million, and pocketed 8 million. So give us an explanation, using land rates as an example, why in ZZ the records reflected 10 million, yet your revenue statements reflected 2 million. That is a question the Auditor General is asking. Or, Patrick, am I asking my own questions?
Chair, that is a position. Because ordinarily, you will expect that the figures in the revenue statement are coming after the client has reconciled all records and primary records that they have kept, including the records in the system, for them now to report the correct figures in the revenue statement. And failure on the side of the management to report the correct figures in the revenue statement means there'll be very little reliance on the system they are using to collect the revenue. Thank you, Chair.
So, receiver of revenue, maybe we listen to Senator Nyonka first.
Chair, I feel that this question will be related. The ZZ platform, through you, Chair, I'm asking the CC Finance, who runs it, who manages it, how did they acquire it, and what has been its performance? Has it been successful, or because I'm asking this question because these are issues that are cross-cutting around most of the counties in our republic.
Maybe it is fair, Chair, if I was to write on what Senator Nyonka is saying. It is fair then to know how much was used to procure this particular service.
There is a substantive audit query on in the 2021-2022 report that talks about non-payment of annual maintenance fees for maintenance of revenue collection and management system. I think that can provide us a better entry into the state of that system, so that we first deal with these numbers, then we go to the systems and the processes. Senator Omogeni.
Yeah, like Madam CC. CEO, okay.
I think in this case,
first
receiver of revenue.
Receiver of revenue. There is a matter that is picked up by the auditor on cess. I thought cess is money that you collect every day, and it should not have a variance. Like what I'm seeing here, you cannot account for 77,450. Is it that you have officers who collect this money and pocket it, or it is given to a certain officer who pockets it? How does it disappear? Because this money you are collecting from the poor women selling vegetables, tomatoes, or vehicles crisscrossing the county transporting certain commodities. How does this money disappear? That it forms an audit query that makes our county to have a qualified report.
Maybe if you just allow me 1 minute, Araida. So I would want to also understand whether there is money that is now collected manually. Because if it is not on the ZZ platform, what you have collected, what has been the revenue statement is 4 million. What ZZ has recorded is, is there money that you collect manually?
Okay, all those are general questions relating to the specific matter of figures, because really figures don't lie. So first tell us why you have that 8.3 million difference between ZZ and revenue statement, and then address the other questions.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. First, I would like to make a clarification that the variance does not mean that money is lost per se, but I think it is an error in
I think
accounting.
Leave the interpretation to us.
Okay.
Just do the explanation.
Okay, well, land rates is one of the examples that you've said that you can use. I see there's a 2.5, but according to this, it was 10. But Honorable Chair, with your indulgence, if you check on property rates, we've recorded 12 million, but according to the system, it is 2 million. I think the variance
Even if you are to put the two together, you still have a gap of 1.6 million.
Yeah, and some other gaps below. But I want to also say, Honorable Chair, that
this is a precise. This is a receiver of revenue statement is a matter of precision. It is not about you will find the figure there if it is not here. It must be precise. And if that then was the argument, then the total sum on the variance column should be 0. What is the total sum on variance? Because if you are saying that it was accounted for in another line, then the total variation should net off to 0.
The variance is the 6 million.
If you total everything on that variance column, what do you get?
It should be the 6 million.
What is it? What is it?
6,058,000.
Yes, so that's even if it was 6 million, your argument does not answer the question. Even if you are to take land rates and put it together with property rent, there's still a variance of 1.6. This is a precise exercise. This is not an art. On receipt of revenue, it is a science. For every line, you must provide an explanation because you have just about 13 revenue streams. That is a job of a receipt of revenue for 365 days. Even if you are taking 1 week to explain one revenue stream, you can't tell us a story. You must give us precision in terms of the explanation. Otherwise, we will reach the conclusion that money was collected and not reported. Already the Auditor General has reached that conclusion. Our job as a Senate is to listen to your mitigation so that we agree with them or we vary that position. Receipt of revenue, are you understanding where we are coming from? So give us precise answers on the variances, not speculation.
Maybe before she gives a precise answer, it is not accurate, it is not factual for her to say that the variance is 6 million. It is not 6 million. It is not 6 million. Unless you want us to take a calculator and count, it is not 6 million, it cannot add up to 6 million.
Because the 6 million is another matter flagged by the auditor.
Yes.
Senator.
Chair, through you, the other question I wanted to ask is this question I asked which Madam didn't answer. The system that you're using called Zizi, how has it been functioning? Has this system been precise, exact? Because the issues you are raising, the issues you are discussing right now, of that variance, is it being caused by the system which is not working, or is it being caused by what the chair has raised? Where is this money?
Okay, Honorable Chair.
Maybe Chair, the last one.
Yes,
I think the receipt of revenue is misleading this committee. Because in her explanation of the 6 million, she says that single business permits are lumped up together, such that even payment of schools is included as single business permit. But looking at the revenue streams, there is SBPS private schools that paid 950,000. So it is not factual to say that the 950 is in 6 million. The first explanation that you gave is not factual.
In fact, I'd like the Secretariat just to work out the total on that variance column, because that then would be the conclusion we are looking at on amounts collected that have not been reported.
Honorable Chair.
Receipt of revenue?
I actually wanted to clarify that Zizi was being used in 21, 22. We no longer use that system because it was it was not fully automated, and thus the variances starting the financial year 22-23, and that is when the appointment for receiver of revenue happened. Then now we have a different system that works like in real time, and figures you can be able to compare. So Zizi is no longer in use at the county.
Excuse me, can you read the audit query on page 1? Maybe you're not understanding what we are trying to get at. Do you have it with you? The one says basis of qualified opinion, variance between statement and records. Are you there?
Yes.
What is the auditor saying? The statement of receipts, you can read. What is the query there?
The statement of receipts and disbursements reflects on source revenue of 169,976. However, variances noted between the amount in the statement and those in the revenue records that was maintained. There's a variance and there's a table there.
Yeah, now, where is your response? Have you answered? You know, he's talking about figures, money that is missing. And that is the explanation we want to receive as Senate. Now go to page 2 on your management response. Have you explained adequately where that money is or how that money can be accounted for? You've seen management response?
Yes.
What are you saying?
According to the management response, we are saying that the total revenue that was collected in that year was 169 million. And this has also been reflected in the CRF bank statement. And so further, the preparation of financial statements and receiver of revenue for the 6 million that is being questioned was utilized, and we've annexed the financial statement to show the 6 million that was being queried.
You know, what we need is an explanation on that variance. Your response does not address that concern. You know, it's about loss of money that is been given in figures. And you have not given an adequate explanation where the figures are not adding up from what you collect and the records that you avail to the auditor.
Honorable Chair, you know, when we collect revenues, first we collect them to a collection account that is in a commercial bank, and then every Friday we sweep that to the CRF account. So by the time the auditors were extracting this financial statement from CRF, the 6 million was not there because it was still at the bank account, which was later swept.
Receiver of revenue, I will help you. I will help you. The line we have selected on land rates. In Zizi, you collected 10.9 million, and then you reported 2.5. Let me tell you what you collected under land rates in the financial year 2020-2021. First of all, is it your position that in this financial year you collected 2.5 million as land rates? Is that your position? Receiver of revenue. That in 2021-2022 you received 2.5 million as land rates?
I cannot confirm that except from the attachments in the financial report.
What are the attachments? Because even that attachment has a note that breaks down that revenue stream. So how much was reported under that revenue stream in your financial statements?
Honorable Chair, in the statement of receipts and disbursements for the year ended June, we have 12,321,770 under land rates.
12,321,770. 770.
Yes.
So why do we have this 2.5 million here? Amount as per revenue statement, 2.5 million. Auditor General, where did you pick that amount of 2.5 million?
Thank you, Chair. The financial statements, what we are calling here the revenue statements, is what was disclosed by the county executive. So this is a figure from the financial statements.
But if you go to that note that the receiver of revenue is talking about, this is financial year ended 30th June 2023. Let's deal with 2022, because what you have referred us to is the 2023 financial statement. This is ROR for year ended 2022, isn't it?
Yes.
So, receiver, you cannot refer us to the 2023 report. What you should refer us to is the 2022. So, as a 2022, what was the reported collection on land rates? That's just what we want to find out. What you reported as your collection on land rates. That is an extract for the year ended 30th June 2023.
Actually, Honorable Chair, that is for 21-22. The 12 million 321.77.
What is the header of that note? Number 6, statement.
Statement of receipts and disbursement for the year ended June 2022.
That's
that is what
an
I have.
error.
Mine is reading June 2023.
Unless
there's another one.
No, the one that has 12/3/21 is 2022, Chair.
Let me get to it.
Maybe you need to go to the report of the Auditor General.
Clerk, can you make sure that I'm on the same page? Because we need to be on the same basis. What I have here is receipt of revenue statement for 30th June 2023.
Where are we getting the figure of 2.3?
Did I ask for property or land rates? I asked for land rates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do you have this which?
So, Senator Methu, are you seeing land rates anywhere in the 2022 report?
Yes, I'm seeing it as land stroke poor rate. 12 million is the second one after cess.
Mark, please make sure I have it.
It's the report of the Auditor General on the report.
The year ended?
2022.
Okay, clerk, please help me. Is it in these later pages?
This is 10.
What you're looking at is different.
It's on, is it on page 1?
This one.
Oh, okay. With the receipt of revenue report.
Property, then.
25. I think there's a mistake in
Land stroke.
Well,
Give me this other one. Just for. So, Auditor General, when we have 12 million reported there, how did you come to the conclusion that the revenue statements are 2 million? What was your basis? Because I'm assuming that what you have on the revenue statement column should be what was reported under the notes. Auditor?
Chair, from what I can see, if you look at page 1 of the statement of receipts and disbursements for the year ended 2022, you'll see the amount shown for property rent is under note 4 is 2.5.
Was it the governor then?
It's 2,570,000.
No, that is property rate. We are at land rate. It's 2, not 2.
Yes.
12 million.
12,321,000.
Yeah.
But there's a mix-up of the figures. I'm alerting the committee to the mix-up of the figures. If you look at note 4 under the same statement.
Chair, can you see what was picked up by the auditor? There's a mix-up. You have correctly put it Murioki.
Yeah, because
what you picked was property rate, and then you put it as the rand rate, because the property rate is the one that is 2.570.
Yeah, 634.
But you queried the same amount, but at a different revenue stream.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So, you know, when you mix up the basis, then we might arrive at a fairly inaccurate conclusion. But, Patrick?
Equally, Chair, if you look at that table in that report, if you go down, you'll see property rent. The figure quoted then again is 12,321,770, which now agrees with the amount shown under note 4.
Yes.
I've just
so,
noted that.
So your basis is a bit misleading. But even if we picked one, you know, it does not take away the variance between the back end and the reports. Or have you also mixed them up?
No, true, Chair. It's true. It doesn't take away the variance, because if you are to add up the figures, you'll see there's a variance of
3,294,998. That's why, Chair, I was saying it is inaccurate for the receiver of revenue to say that the variance is 6 million, because you just interchange what has been put at 100. You just interchange. The base will remain the same. So it is inaccurate for her to insist that the variance is 6 million. It is not 6 million.
Yeah, the variance still remains.
And it is,
but
the specific variance, Chair, is 3.294 million.
3.294?
998. That is the variance.
So, why do we have those differences between the source of data, the source of truth, which is the ZZ collection records, and the financial statements, to the tune of 3.2 million, before we get to the 6 million?
Honorable Chair, I wish to also clarify that this system, when it was in use, it was because there were also aspects of manual collection of revenue, so that it was not fully automated, so that we had instances whereby collections could actually happen off the system.
If that was the case, then
Yes.
your reporting would have been higher than ZZ. In this case, your reporting is lower than ZZ. What you have collected electronically is higher than what you have reported the financial statements.
Is that?
Senator
No,
Omogeni?
I'm getting worried. You had subcontracted this ZZ to pay them how much? And what were they meant to do? Did you pay them for services that they never rendered? Because you are now telling us that part of the collection was manual. I thought the intention was to move to automated revenue collection. Was that the contract? Because you are paying 5.5% a commission.
Mr. Chairman,
Governor?
it was both manual and electronic. That's why we discontinued it. It was not giving us good service.
For how much are you paying them?
Governor,
Yes.
there is 3.2 million,
Yes.
which was collected on ZZ but was not reported. That cannot be the problem of the system.
Maybe, Chair, to be accurate, it is the other way around.
Is it a negative?
No,
the other way
Honorable
around.
Chair.
Which one is higher? This revenue statement?
The
revenue
manual.
statement
The revenue statement is higher.
is higher with
Yes.
3.2,
So-
higher than the ZZ.
By 3.29.
3.2.
Yes.
Do we have an analysis of where the 3.2 came from? Which revenue streams? Because
Well,
if you're paying 5.5% of this amount of money, then there should be no difference between what sits in the system and your reports. And where there is a difference, the logical thing to do is to withhold payments. Senator Dulo, before the receiver of revenue.
Yeah, I think there is a question that was asked by Senator Omogeni which has not been answered. And I'm just wondering why is it that the system was automated and part of it is manual? What is the reasoning behind it? Because it should be fully automated. What is the problem? And number two, were you in the office, Governor, then?
Governor?
Yes, I was in office partly because just come in for 6 months.
I think it's on public record you're the deputy governor.
Yes.
Therefore, the deputy CEO. So,
Yes.
so don't do those things people do in Nairobi, where they disown their bosses because their bosses are no longer in office. You know what I'm talking about at the national level. So he was deputy CEO and is currently the CEO. But back to the question about the system. Perhaps we look at the substantive audit matter, then we deal with that as a cross-cutting issue. It was in the report for 2021-2022, where the disclosure was made by the Auditor General that you are paying 5.5% of your collections to a revenue system that obviously does not work. Auditor General, could you just read out that findings so that we deal with these matters in a cross-cutting fashion? So I think it was the non-payment of annual maintenance fee for maintenance of revenue collection and management system, page 4 of your report for 2021.
2022.
No, it's actually on the receive of revenue.
It's the same report, Chair.
Oh, yeah. So it's in both reports?
Yes.
Ah, okay, fine.
Thank you,
fine.
Chair. Please allow me to read
just read it.
Thank you, Chair.
It's in the receive of revenue statement, sorry.
Yes. Paragraph number 2, non-payment of annual maintenance fees for maintenance of revenue collection and management system. The county government entered into a contract with the local company for supply, delivery, customization, commissioning, and maintenance of revenue collection and management system for a contract period of 3 years from 23rd of May 2019 to 23rd of May 2022. However, as at the time of audit, the county government had not paid the company for 3 years, contrary to Schedule 3 of the contract agreement, which stipulates that annual maintenance fees be computed at a rate of 5.5% of the total revenues collected in the respective quarter. In the circumstances, the county government may incur huge penalties arising from the non-compliance with the contract terms. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what was your response on that? It's actually on the receive of revenue statement. It has been duplicated in both. I didn't know it was on the ROR report. So we are still on the ROR report. The issue of the system is there. That is under lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources. Yes. Governor, your response?
Chair, I hand over to Minister for Finance to read.
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to respond as follows. The management concurs with the auditor's observation that the service provider had not been paid.
Please be audible. Either bring it close to your mouth or bring your mouth close to it.
Management concurs with the auditor's observation that the service provider had not been paid the maintenance fee at the time of conducting the audit. The contract period had been extended to December 2022, and management was in the process of paying the last certificate, then engage the service provider on how to manage the maintenance fee, given that the execution of the contract was delayed. Thank you, Chair. We have an annexure of the letter of the said extension of the contract period. Thank you.
So since this is an audit of past events, have you paid the 5.5%?
Yes, we did, Chair.
For a system which we are now finding was not giving you value for money?
Well, it's in light of the inefficiencies of the system that the county government made a decision to vacate the contract after the extension period. And,
but I thought the 5.5% you'd pay if the system fulfilled its stated objective. So is it an admission that the system fulfilled its objective and the failure was on the part of the county executive?
Chair, the system was intended to fully automate revenue collection system.
Did it?
And the objective was never realized.
Did it meet that objective?
It didn't.
And you are to pay 5.5 if it met its objective?
Well, the 5.5 was based on the amounts corrected by the system, but overall, the entire revenue automation process was not realized, and that's where the provider was vacated. Thank you,
Senator Dulo.
I'm reading something fishy here. At what stage did they discover that the system was not actually serving the purpose it was intended for? Because you should have actually tested the system before using it to the county. So now you are telling us you discovered much later it was not serving the purpose that it was intended for. So at what stage did you discover that it wasn't serving the objective it was meant to serve?
Yeah, I wish to note that usually any system, when it's rolled out, it takes some bit of time because there was the aspect of data capture, data mapping, and actual collection of revenue via the system. But the issue here was the service provider did not do it at the speed which we anticipated. And it's rightfully so, upon realizing that we were not going to realize full automation of revenue collection, the company or the service provider was vacated.
Honorable Chair.
So maybe as I invite other questions, yeah, because please be precise, don't give us those backgrounds, because one of the things we must establish is that if you paid that 5.5%, how much was it? And how much have you spent on the entire system from development, from initiation, all those processes you're talking about, to the time of last certificate that you are referring to here? Can someone give us that information? Senator Methu.
I just want to tie it up because there is also a substantive matter that has been raised by the Auditor General. Now that you have not paid for that service for 3 years, did you?
He says he has paid.
How much?
And he needs to tell
maybe
us
you allow me, Chair, to just prosecute my point. Now that you had not paid, because by the time of audit, this money had not been paid. It has only been paid now. How much was the interest or penalties that were on these particular fees? Because maybe they paid, yes. Was there any penalties that you paid?
CC, how much did you pay? We want numbers, not a story. How much did you pay? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I think we paid for other services, but 5.5 is still outstanding. We declined
5.5 million
percent. They were.
So what did you pay for those other services?
Other services is for equipment and installations.
How much? You see, we want to establish how much did you spend on this system over 3 years vis-a-vis what you collected through it over 3 years. Because this Senate is going to be called upon at some point to endorse the Treasury centralized revenue management system. And we want to carry the experience of Nyamira to that meeting as justification for a centralized system.
You know, Governor, please, who prepared this report? You know, the response from your office says, and you just tabled it, it says, the management concurs with the auditor's observation that the service provider had not been paid, okay, the maintenance fee at the time of conducting the audit. The contract period has been extended and management was in the process of paying the last certificate. So what certificate is this that was being paid? And these guys have been in office since 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. When did the county realize that there is no value for money for the county of Nyamira? That's 4 years.
That's why when they invoiced 39 million, we paid only 19 because of non-performance.
So this 19 was for what?
For equipment, installation, but the commission we didn't pay.
So the commission 5.5 has not been paid?
No.
And will you pay or not pay? Because it is a question that has been raised by the Auditor General. The interest will be on this commission because you entered into a contract with them. And for 3 years, they provided services to your county.
So
when they have raised an invoice, are you paying them or not paying them?
We cannot pay them.
Who collected the money? You said you did manual collection, automated collection. Who was collecting automated collection? Is it the county or the service provider?
We were using their system.
So why are you not then paying them if you use their system?
Under performance.
Was that in your contract that the commission is tied to their performance? Because it must have been in the contract that you signed. If it was not there, then you have to pay them.
I don't have a contract here.
Sorry?
Sorry, I cannot comment that because I don't have the contract here.
The receiver of revenue is
Chair.
present, and I think this is a day-to-day job of the receiver of revenue.
Yeah,
Senator,
honestly, we are playing around because this county is not serious in responding to queries. Because they are giving us contradicting statements as far as payment is concerned. And number two, you cannot go to a shamba without a jembe. When the governor sits here and says he doesn't have a contract with him, and this is an audit query, which you should have armed yourself with a contract that is running at that particular time. Again, Chair, he's not responding to queries. We were asking, at what stage did you discover that the equipment or the system is not working? They're not responding. How can you sit for 3 years and all of a sudden you say this is not working and we are not even going to pay? It's going to put that county into actually a liability because it's a signed contract. You can't sit here and say the system has not been working. We're not paying. They have to pay for it. Unless there is an exit clause at the right time.
Chair, why I'm asking
and
this
I think
question
that's
on
why
the contract.
I hope the county's attorney is listening in, because these things of saying I can't pay when you've got a contractual obligation, sometimes you end up causing more problems than solutions.
Chair, why we must interrogate this question of the contract. It is on what I was signed that the governor used to pay the 19 million. Because why didn't he choose to say, these guys did not perform, so I'm not even paying for the equipment? Because why are you paying for an equipment that did not perform? If the payment was tied on performance, why then did you pay for an equipment that that did not perform? Governor, there's no way you can run away from the question of the contract. Because it is not your word, just allow me to finish. It is not your word to say that you are paying or not paying. It is what is in the contract. If the contract was what the CEC, your CEC has said, that the contract was 5%, 5.5% of what was corrected. If ZZ corrected 169 million, and it is in your contract that 5.5% is their money, then you have no rockers of saying that you cannot pay them.
Senator Onyonka?
Governor Nyaribo, I wanted to raise two questions. Question number one, do you actually understand what the concern of this team is?
Yes.
If you understand what the concern is, and this is not a particularly Nyamira story, this is a story of our country called Kenya. Number one, there are questions which we ask because we need certain evidence for us to either rest a matter or proceed with it. That's the right way it's done. Who owns this system? Who signed the agreement with this system? How much money have you made with this system until you terminated it? After you terminated it, what else did you bring in? My assumption is that this system has got two bank accounts, the one which you were using before the system was easy, and the second one, which then you created another system. Do you have those facts for this committee so that we are able then to interrogate this matter logically and conclusively? Those are the issues we are dealing with.
Governor?
Chairman, the CC was owned by a company called Riverbank, and I'm sure you have had several cases countrywide. They had issues. But what I want to clarify here clearly is that the 5.5, we were not committed to 5.5. It was a guideline which they used to raise, so they cannot go to court.
Honorable members, we now need to make progress. We don't seem to be getting the information we need from the county executive. And there's no way we can resolve the issues raised here by the Auditor General. Auditor General, you have only complicated our lives by your mix-up of that analysis. Because if your analysis was accurate, then we would be taking serious issue with the county executive. But you have admitted that there was some mix-up. You guys need to clean this up so that we know the actual variance. You need to tell us that of that 3 million, and the county must provide that information, if they reported 3 million more Where did that 3 million come from? But then still the issue of the 6 million. What was the problem of the 6.025 million that you had cited?
Chair, on the issue of the 6,058,861, it was revenue deposited in revenue collection bank account, but was not included in the revenue statements. Thank you, Chair.
861,000.
58,861.
58,861.
61.
Receive of revenue, how did you account for that? 58,861.
Honorable Chair, we were able to sweep that amount to the CRF account, much as it was not there when the auditors were running the statements. Later on, we were able to move the funds from the Revenue Collection Bank to CRF. And we've been able to attach a statement showing the same.
Auditor General, have you looked at that statement? Because that's 58,861 out of 6,058,861. OAG. It means they've been able to expend 6 million, but 58,000 was still pending.
We were not provided with the details of that statement to confirm the figures.
For the 6 million or for the 58,000?
For the 58,000.
For the 58,000?
Yes.
But for the 6 million?
The 6 million is just a difference between the two figures.
Which figures?
We don't have the evidence of how the amount was swept to the CRF account.
There's work for both the auditor and the client to do on this receipt of revenue statement. First of all, the auditor, you must clean up your analysis. You have just pointed out the mix-up. Clean up that analysis. The county executive must go beyond the audit query here. As a Senate, we are interested in knowing the status of this system that you are saying is discontinued. We have asked you the total cost that has been incurred on it. Governor, you have only talked of 19 million for equipment. We need to know whether there was a cost for implementation, whether there was a cost for software licenses, whether there was a cost on commission, collection commission. We can only tell when we see the contract. Has a contract been provided to the Auditor General for Zizi?
Honorable Chair, with your permission, we can provide the same.
The contract of any outstanding amounts that is still in dispute. The governor says then you need to make a provision for it. So we need to understand those aspects of the old system. I'm assuming you now have a new system. Governor, do you have a new system or you went manual?
Chair, we have a new system of National Bank.
Now, of the new system, we want as a Senate to understand the same aspects of the new system. So what the contract for the new system, so that we can clearly tell what it's going to cost the people of Nyamira. And you'll also tell us the payments that have been made so far on that new system. The reason why we are concerned here is because in 3 financial years, your own source revenue has been going down. People have been doing studies on the relationship between automation and own source revenue. And in your case, in 2019-2020, you collected 187 million. The following year, it went down to 168 million. The following year, it was at 169 million. So you started from 187 and went to 169 with a system.
Excuse me, Chair. That was period of COVID.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Governor. Everyone is using Gen Z as an excuse. You'll come here for the next audit, you'll say you couldn't collect because Gen Zs rejected your finance bill. So those are excuses. But if you do a relationship, if you map a relationship, it tells you that your automation did not yield the necessary efficiencies. And yet, theoretically, you are going to spend, even if you are to just do 5.5%, 5.5% would have been 28 million of collections over that period, plus the 19 million that you have talked about. And we don't know whether there are costs regarding software licenses. So we want to take Nyamira as a case study because we'll be engaging the Treasury at some point on that single system that they want to roll out to counties. That's why we must get that information and the granular data from Nyamira County. So within 7 days, the Auditor General will clean up the analysis and will provide to the auditor for review and analysis the contracts for the old and the new system, the payments for the old and the new system, and the collections under the old and the new system. That way, our Parliamentary Budget Office will be able to study and write a report on the effectiveness of systems in Nyamira County. Senator
Chair,
Bulo.
I just wanted to know whether the contract was formally terminated or they just went silent.
Governor, was there a termination before you went into another marriage?
It was formal. That's why we extended for 6 months so that we can make it formal.
Okay. There is a question that has been raised in this report about lack of evaluation role. What is the progress on this, Governor? Lack of evaluation role and accompanying legislation?
I think, wait, under what?
Maybe just go to your written response.
We had contracted somebody to do it and it's in progress. I think we have a draft.
Governor, first of all, look at your written response before you
The
make
management concurs with the auditor's observation that at the time of audit, the county executive was still using variation rule of 2006, inherited from the defunct local authorities in the collection of plot rents and land rates. However, the county is currently updating its variation rule, which in its final stages of completion, expected to be completed by December 2024.
Any evidence to that effect?
Yes.
Where is it in this management response?
We have a contract agreement.
Is it attached? Is it referred to in
Yes.
this management? Assuming we are to take written responses, how will we be able to get visibility of that progress that you're making? I hope you understand my question.
Pardon?
What is the evidence that whatever you are saying is happening? Because
We
the
have a
evidence
contract
could be a letter,
agreement.
could be a contract. Yes, where is it?
We
Is it
have an
attached?
inception report, and we have also an interim, a draft report.
Was it presented to the Auditor General when the auditor asked this question? Yes or no?
Honorable Chair.
Yes or no?
No.
Has it been presented to the Senate for its consideration?
Yes.
Where is it?
We have attached annexures for the contract agreement, the inception report.
Which annex?
However, it is in the executive report
There's
of
a
21-22. It
Because
is the
there's a
same
query
query, yes.
On that?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get it when we get to the 21?
22.
21, 22.
Yes.
Maybe just take us there so that we close the matter, so that we don't have to revisit it.
Honorable Chair, if you go to page 11 of 42, of the executive report for 21-22.
Page?
The query is on page 10.
Yeah, but the response?
2.2.
The annexures?
The annexures are in the big document.
Which annexure is that, or which appendix?
So it's annexure 2.2.1, where we have attached a contract agreement between the valuer and the county government.
2.21?
2.2I.
I'm seeing 2.1I, then it goes to 2.3.
Then there's also the excerpt of the inception report.
Just guide us on the annexure, because we just, I just want to, we are just interested in evidence that you are doing the valuation role. Annex 2.1.2 is an agreement with the KMPDU. Is there 2.2? 2.1. So why is it that, is it here? Let's check whether it's here. Because it cannot be that we have different sets of records. Is it in that pack? No, check on, that was a pack that was given to the chair. Just check whether it's there.
Mine has.
That one does not have. Members, I hope that, because you can't be dealing with inconsistent records. So we'll give you the benefits of doubt because I'm seeing it in a pack here, but it should not be that some packs have got records which other packs don't have. So what do you have there? Just explain.
So as I was saying, Honorable Chair, we have, we're making good progress toward the evaluation role.
Just describe the documents. The first one.
The contract agreement. We have the inception report, an excerpt of phase 1.
What is the duration of the contract?
How long? 18 months, Honorable Chair.
On which page do we see that?
Where will we get that?
Should have been in the contract.
I guess on the contract agreement.
On which
Where
page?
there? Which page?
Honorable Chair, the Chief Officer in charge of lands confirms that the contract is just an excerpt, but then the period is for 18 months.
From?
Where is that? Where is that information?
Because this, even if it's
Where
an
is that
excerpt,
information?
it's not dated. We don't even know when it was executed.
No, you can show me. Use this one.
Maybe, Chair,
You can use this.
there are documents that are supposed to have been attached to this particular contract, which are not here. The general conditions of the contract, the special conditions of the contract, which are not here, including the description of services that are supposed to be offered. This contract it does not point to anything without the description of the contract, without any conditions of the contract, and even the services that you are seeking.
Honorable Chair, we have just annexed just a summary of the contract, but the whole contract document, we don't have it here with us, but it has all the full details.
So why let me ask, why are you giving us piecemeal information? Why can, if you want to give us information about a contract, why can't you attach the whole contract then we can look at the terms of the contracts.
Maybe a more substantive question, Senator Omogeni, that you should be asking, and it has been asked by the chair. What if we were to take the written responses? What would we see in this contract that would point to why you attach this? Anybody who is seeing this contract for the first time, what information can we get from it?
Honorable Chair, I think the error is not intentional in the sense that we were trying to show that we've actually entered into an agreement for the valuation role, but we are very much willing to provide more details on the same.
So what's the contract sum?
Honorable Chair, with your permission, can I allow the Chief Officer in charge of that to answer the query?
Something is emerging in this country.
But why, you know,
that you'll find a CEO knows how the economy has grown, how much they are collecting as revenue, how much they are planning to spend, but they don't know the number of people who have been killed. And it's out of convenience, just trying to avoid responding to certain questions conveniently. Senator Methu, I don't expect you to interject because I know which side you are on nowadays.
Excuse me, Chair.
So what's the contract sum?
Honorable Chair, the contract sum is 58 million.
Senator Nyonka?
Just a minute before you
Yes.
say 58 million to do evaluation for how much are you collecting?
At the moment, currently,
160?
No, it's not 169.
Huh.
We have already improved at the moment. Maybe the
No, refer to the audit report that is before us. How much have you collected in that financial year?
in that financial year we collected 169, but currently we are over
58 million. Is that why you didn't want to put that contract before us? Because what is value for money? You are looking at a collection of 169 and you want to pay somebody close to 60 million to do evaluation for you.
Actually, the better analysis should have been, what do you expect to collect out of property rates? Because the evaluation is related to property rates.
Your rates, do you know how much you collected?
Yes.
How much?
The current rates.
How much?
At the moment, the current rates were, in the lands department we are collecting around, it's around 50, almost 51 million.
51?
Yes.
Why is that figure been hidden? What is here is 12 million?
Currently.
No, I'm saying let's refer to what is audited. That's the record that is before us. How much is it?
Property rates, that's around 12 million.
And you want to pay somebody how much to do evaluation?
We have improved, sir.
No. No, I can now see why you didn't want us to see that contract. That was deliberate.
Chairman, with your permission, the last time audit evaluation was done was 2006. Therefore, when we do valuation and pay 58, valuing all assets or land of the county, it's a long term. It's not a one year off. It's a long-term benefit to the county.
You said the duration is how many months? 16 months?
18 months.
So 58 million over 18 months. So what is your expectation? What's your business case for spending 58 million? If right now you are collecting 12 million, so what's the business case? That we spend 58 million so that we can optimize our revenue to what level?
Well, Honorable Chair, if you notice the 169 million that we collected in 21-22, it was based on an old valuation roll.
169 included hospital fees.
Yes.
We are narrowing down on the revenue streams that relate to the valuation roll. That will be property rates and land rates, isn't it?
Yes.
And that one you are collecting about 12 million or 15 million?
Then, yes.
Yeah. So what are you collecting now on those two streams?
We are at about 51 million for that particular stream.
So what then is a business case? I'm spending 58 million. I'm collecting 51 million. I want to spend 58 million on this stream. What do I get in return?
Honorable Chair, the valuation roll has actually not been implemented except for the inception report. And once we adopt it, then we expect to have a big case around the collection.
What is your forecast business case? I'm talking, what is a business case for spending 58 million on the valuation role. I know it is important.
Yes.
And I think we have directed you to have a valuation role.
Yes.
But we are asking, beside directing you, what is the business case? If you're collecting 12 million in this year, then perhaps you should have spent less on that exercise. Unless this 58 million, you know what it's going to yield. So what do you expect
Honorable
to
Chair,
get out of 58?
Okay, the business case is that from the inception report that we've actually got of phase 1, which started with the multinationals, we are likely to collect 198 million should we implement that report. So I guess the investment is worth the collections that we expect.
Maybe so that I get it. Did you say that your current correction from property rate and run rate is 51 million?
Yes, for the financial year 23-24.
Auditor General, maybe just allow me, Governor, because Auditor General, is that statement factual that they collected 2 million and 12 million, 14 million 2 years ago, and it has grown? That revenue stream has grown 5 times. They are now collecting 51 million.
Chairman.
No, just allow me.
Okay, allow the auditor to clarify. Then we'll Sen Okongo, then we'll give the opportunity.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, we deal with figures. In the absence of analysis, from 2006 to the current contract service provider, we have no evidence that such kind of figures.
No, maybe you didn't get my question.
Yes.
On a specific question, what you recorded, and Monique, you help me so that we are together. What was the correction as at June 2022? They collected 2.5 million for property rate. They collected 12.3 million for run rate. That should be 15 million. So we don't have the figures for 2023. They now say that the figures for 2024, in 2 years that revenue stream has to 51 million. I just want to know from you, because they are the people that I can trust, whether that statement is factual.
I think the answer is in the attachments. That's the receivable revenue statement for year ended 30th June 2023 that I was looking at earlier. And you can see in 2022-2023, Governor, in 2022-2023, those two streams, one grew by 5 million to 17 million, and the other one on rent dropped by 1 million to 1.6. So it's still just about 20 million.
In fact, it is now 18 million. Now we are closer. The year ended June 2023, they corrected 18 million. The year ended June 2024, they have corrected 51 million. Unless these people have been stealing that money, there is no way that revenue would have grown in 1 year 3 times.
And 2024, we can't take word of mouth. It was closed just 2 days ago. We wait for the audited account.
Chairman.
Governor.
We are on an exercise of growing our own source of revenue. The 51 million we are talking about is not imaginary. We can even show you online that actually we have done it. And we have done it even without the valuation roll. But once the roll is finished and it goes through the counter assembly, we expect that stream to bring over 200 million per year.
Senator Onyonka, so that we make progress.
Thank you, Governor. Through you, Chair, Governor Nyaribo, I wanted to ask you whether you are aware on what Kericho County has done on the valuation roll. And the reason I'm asking you is because the same issues, because of the large European firms, and because I sit in the committee and we've been informed that for them, they are now at about 3,500 per acre. What have you done to fast track Nyamira to be able to reach where Kericho has reached? And do you have any agreement you have agreed with the European firms which are in Nyamira County?
Governor?
Chair, we cannot bargain because we intend to move it even further than 3.5. We expect to move between 6 and 8 million per acre. But that vision has been completed in order to have a basis of setting and the talking, because we don't want court cases. Sometimes we sit on the table and agree on an agreeable amount than going to court, because court sometimes takes many years.
Our concern is based on the recent happenings, where the presidency is proposing a cut on the allocations due to counties. Our position as a Senate is very clear. We cannot accept any revision of what has already been appropriated to county governments, because the Constitution is clear that if there is a revenue shortfall, it is borne by the national government. But assuming that there would be a tyranny of numbers and all sorts of undue schemes, and that prayer by the presidency would be true, you're going to suffer. Your equitable share.
We'll go to court, Chairman.
Yes, you'll go to court, but you are not sure of the outcome. Assuming that it goes to that, you have to rely on your own source revenue. And that's why we are pushing, because Nyamira is, I would say Nyamira has got a more productive agricultural base and even trade, SMEs, than Homa Bay. But you see the difference in terms of on-source revenue. So we'll continue pushing for this. I want us to bring to close the ROR discussion. Governor, there are a lot of unanswered questions. We have already given directions on the systems. On this valuation role, what we needed from you was evidence that you're taking action. Unfortunately, you have brought to us a redacted copy of the contract, just like what the government did when you were asking for disclosure on Eurobond. They gave a redacted contract. Provide a contract that has all these questions that we are asking about to the Auditor General. Can that be done within 7 days, Governor?
Yes, Chairman.
Yeah, once the Auditor General has it, then it shall be transmitted to the committee. Accompany that with an analysis of your business case, that you are spending 58 million and you expect to raise this amount. I'm sure you did that analysis before you floated the tender and before you even quantified that valuation role. So Auditor General, please, within 7 days, we'll be expecting. Once you receive that, you'll do the analysis to help us in our report writing. I then want us to go to the report for financial year 2021-2022. There are a few issues that we will focus on, and there could be a few which, if your written response is comprehensive enough, we might take the written responses. But I hope you have not responded in the same way we have seen your responses in the ROR statement. Auditor General, what was your opinion in the financial year ended 2022?
Chair, it was a qualified opinion.
And what was the basis of that opinion?
Basis was based on 5 paragraphs. Failure to reconcile transfers to other government entities, long outstanding land rates, lack of updated variation role, compensation.
Okay, I think let's go point by point on failure to reconcile transfers to other government entities. This one was transfers to Nyamira County Assembly. Yes. Are there still gaps in the explanation provided by the county?
Madam Chair, this is an issue of accounting, because you will see there's a figure of 1.2 million. In the assembly record, the amount was transferred on 20th June 2021. But you see, you can only recognize cash when it's received. So the amount was received in the account of the assembly on 1st of June 2022.
June or July?
1st of July 2022. And even there is a Form C from the controller budget.
1st of July, Treasury still opens the window. For example, now, right now, Governor, today is 2nd of July. Isn't the window still open for you to make transactions for about 15 days?
It is open, but that time it was not open. That time. But currently, yes.
Auditor General?
Thank you, Chair. You know, the window, the grace period must be very clear in the statement, because during that time there was no specific grace period, for the accounting of the transfers.
In your analysis, how much money was transferred to the county assembly, despite the cutoff? If you take away the 30th June cutoff, how much did the assembly, how much did the executive send to the assembly? Was it 784 million?
Thank you, Chair. If you less the 1.2 million from the 78, it cannot be, I think it is around.
Because I want to deal with two different things here. There is the accounting problem, which comes with cutoff and cash basis. But then there's also the loss of funds between the executive and the assembly, which, as you know, the neighboring county assembly of Homa Bay, some former officials are in court because, no, they're not in court, they're in prison. Because the executive sent money to them, they didn't recognize the money in full. They diverted it to personal accounts. So I want to find out whether that is the case we are dealing with here, or it's just an accounting reporting cutoff problem.
Chair, this case is an issue of accounting because you find, just as I've explained earlier, the amount it was transferred on 30th June 2022, but it hit the account of County Assembly on 1st of July 2022. So it means they are recognized the 1.2 as transfer for the year ending 30th June 2022. But it was in the county assembly account, the amount was not for 2022, the amount was past the year 2022.
But eventually the money came?
But eventually the amount was received.
In full?
Yeah, 1.2.
So there's no gap there?
There's no gap because there's the...
It's just a timing difference?
The accounting issue.
Okay, if that is the case, then this would not be, because we have an inquiry in Migori County as well. In Migori County, 78 million was sent by the executive, but was never recognized by the assembly. And to date, they failed to explain that, and we have asked EACC to look into the matter. So if it's an accounting problem, then we can take the assurance of the OAG. Let's go to other receipts. Land rates, updated valuation roll. Those are some of the things we have discussed under the receipt of revenue statement. Governor, these arrears of 74 million, what are you doing about them? They have been outstanding since 2010. This is more of an ROR question. It's an observation that should have come under the receipt of revenue statement, but it is here. So, can you tell us what you're doing, what action you're taking?
Minister, please.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to read our response as follows. Management concurs with the observation by the auditor that there was an accumulated run rate arrears of 74,883,703 at the time of audit review. However, as per the Nyamira County Revenue Administration Act of 2023, read together with Section 18.3 of Section 18.3 of the Nyamira County Revenue Administration Act, read together with Section 159 of the PFM Act of 2012, a 100% waiver on interest and penalties on run rates arrears was issued on March 2024. And we have also done sensitization on the payment of arrears.
And so, as a result of those initiatives, your outstanding has reduced from 74 to which amount?
It's reduced, Chair, in the current financial year.
This particular amount cited?
Yes, was paid.
When you waive penalties and interest, what remains outstanding?
Honorable Chair, from the balance of 74,883,000, given that in the fiscal year that just ended of 23-24, where we've been able to collect 51, so then the balance is 23, which remains outstanding.
Was this 74 the principal amount, or this 74 was principal plus interest, Auditor General?
Thank you, Chair. This was the principal amount.
This was the principal amount?
Yes.
So, Governor, judgment is that the effect of this waiver will be seen in the financial year ending 2024?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay, unless, I think then the matter then must be kept in view.
Chair, that is a position because the response that has been given before this committee has not given details of their land rate areas. We don't have details of LR numbers for us to be able to determine to whom these amounts are owed from, especially the names of the landlords. So I think there is more information that is required for us to be able to fully determine from whom do we claim these amounts from. So that information is lacking, Chair.
Yeah, and since they are presenting evidence of amended laws of 2023 and newspaper advertisements of 2023, then this matter, we agree with the auditor that amount has been long outstanding. It can only be mitigated in the financial year ended 30th June 2024, when they provide you with the evidence of those successful waivers, because sometimes you spend a lot of money in publicizing waivers, billboards, newspaper advertisements, radio advertisements, and sometimes you don't collect as much as you have spent. If you drive around Nairobi, you'll see faces of Governor Sakaja and Governor Matangi announcing waivers, going to great expense, but they never tell us what that campaign has achieved. But I think let's keep this in view, and it can be captured in receipt of revenue statement or receipt of revenue report for 2024. We have discussed the valuation role, and we have already given directives on that. Let's go to HR matters, and this is very important because it comprises 57% of your expenditure. Auditor General, what is your... So we'll take the related HR issues together so that we deal with them with one stroke.
Thank you, Chair. On compensation of employees, the issues are to do with the manual processing of payroll, an amount of Kenya shillings 54,710,761 was processed through manually outside the IPPD system, and manual processing of payroll involves manual calculation of deductions and net pay by human resource officers and regular monthly or annual updates, which are prone to human error. And then again, the balance includes salaries and allowances totaling 986,584 paid to 2 officers, who are among 47 officers employed during the year under review. One of the officers was appointed to the position of Senior Inspector, Water and Sanitation in the Ministry of Environment, Water, Mining and Natural Resources, while the other was employed as a civil engineer in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. However, the payment to the 2 officers, including basic salary arrears and uniform allowances of 727,084 and Kenya shillings 80,000 respectively, for which the relevant supporting documents were not provided for audit. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Thank you, Chair. Management concurs with the auditor's observation that indeed officers were paid
outside IPPD, and this was mainly for temporary staff. However, it has been stopped and we no longer pay outside IPPD. The names of the two individuals mentioned by the auditor were illegally inserted in a list of officers who were successfully recruited by the County Public Service Board. This illegality is under investigation by DCI. The county government of Nyamira has written to DCI seeking the way forward. We have attached our annexure, which is the letter from the County Secretary to DCI. Thank you, Chair.
What does that letter talk about?
Chair.
Yes, please tell us, tell us what you're communicating in that letter.
Thank you, Chair. In our exhibit dated 14th of May 2024, it's a letter written to DCI from the Office of the County Secretary seeking the status report on the investigations into alleged fraudulent recruitment of staff. We are yet to receive the said report from DCI.
The problem I'm having with this response is that we read your earlier response, which came in advance, and there is something you have redacted your earlier response. Clerk, can you go to the response that we received, because that governor is not proper. It's not proper. When we were preparing for this meeting, we went through your response, and it is different from what I'm reading.
Chair. As the clerk looks at this, I've seen that the letter that you wrote to the DCI was written on the 15th of May, 2024. Is that not so? I mean, just look at the response. It has a date. You don't pass point. If you are struggling to look at it, how are you expecting that we shall have a look at it? And you see the date of that letter?
It's 14th May of 2024.
2024. That is 2 months ago. Yes, yes, I have it. And since this is a matter of 2021 or 2022?
21-22.
21-22.
Yes.
So why, first of all, why did you take this long to write the DCI? And maybe before then, may I know whether Fred Nyamota Nyakango is still in the member of staff of the county government of Nyamira?
No, Chair.
What about Joshua Kipkoech?
No, it's not in the.
Both of them are not no. the two persons that have been you are seeking an advisory from the DCI. They are not members of the establishment of Nyamira County Government.
They are not members.
Very well.
What about Godfrey Kiriago? Godfrey Kiriago?
Chair Godfrey Kiriago is a member of staff in the county government.
So what was the case? What was the matter before the Nyamira Chief Magistrate Court? It was Republic of Kenya versus?
Chair, the matter was, they said Godfrey Kiriago was the Director of Human Resource Management.
Let the county attorney answer, Chairman.
And the reason why I'm saying that, that is what you tendered in your earlier written submissions. You have referred to a charge sheet, a court ruling, and a letter from the county secretary. When I'm looking at this, it's redacted. The charge sheet is omitted, the court ruling is omitted. And yet that was provided, was circulated earlier.
Now, Governor, I want to ask a question around that issue. Who